Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next hour. Heavy downpour wreaks havoc across the Darjeeling hills in India's West Bengal. At least 13 casualties reported. PM Modi closely monitors the situation, directs authorities to provide all possible assistance. Israel agrees to initial withdrawal line, says Trump. Also, Egypt to hold talks on Monday for hostage release talks. Poland activates air defenses after fresh airstrikes hit Ukraine. Eastern flank NATO members too on sharp vigil. And India to lock horns with Pakistan in a high-octane encounter at R. Premadasa Stadium, Colombo, in ICC Women's ODI World Cup 2025. And heavy rainfall has caused widespread devastation in India's Darjeeling hills of West Bengal, triggering landslides that have claimed 13 lives, with several villages cut off due to damaged infrastructure. The major affected areas include Darjeeling and Kalimpong. In addition, a critical connection between Mirik and Kurseong, the Dudia Iron Bridge, has collapsed, resulting in the cutting off of traffic and isolating local communities. Landslides have also been reported along National Highway 110 near Kurseong at Hussain Khola, further exacerbating the situation. The police and local authorities are working to evacuate tourists from Mirik through Tindharia Road. A team from the National Disaster Response Force has been dispatched to assist in rescue operations. The India Meteorological Department has also issued a red alert for the region and a warning of continued heavy rainfall. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the loss of lives in Darjeeling bridge collapse. In a post on X, he said, and I quote, "Deeply pained by the loss of lives due to a bridge mishap in Darjeeling. Condolences to those who have lost their loved ones. May the injured recover soon. The situation in Darjeeling and surrounding areas is being closely monitored in the wake of heavy rains and landslides. We are committed to providing all possible assistance to those affected." President Draupadi Murmu expressed grief over the loss of lives in Darjeeling landslides on Sunday. Taking to X, she said, and I quote, "The tragic loss of lives due to heavy rain and landslides in Darjeeling, West Bengal is distressing. I express my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. I pray for the success of rescue and relief operations and wish a speedy recovery to those injured." All right, and DD India's correspondent Prasenjit is joining us on the phone line. Hi Prasenjit, what is the situation there right now, and what are the authorities, how are the authorities in fact responding to deal with the current situation?
Look, rescue operation is going on, war footing, and as you know that so far death toll is 13, but unofficial death toll is increasing number by number, and it is 17 now. Whatever the situation, but rescue operation is becoming difficult because you know that water is flowing as still it is raining in the upper hill area in Bhutan. If you go by the geographic situation of this area, if rain is continuing in the Bhutan hill area, then the situation is getting worsen in Darjeeling day by day and hour by hour, because it is closely connected to Bhutan hill area. So that is why still there is a rain warning in Bhutan, and so the Merik area of Darjeeling is still under threat. But even now, the NDRF, the GTA, the Gorkha Territorial Authority, they are in rescue operation in some area. Army is also in rescue operation, and as road is collapsed and the bridges collapsed in some areas, so the NDRF and Army, they are using modern rescue tools to rescue the local residents, and of course the tourists who are, as you know, that this is the tourist season. The tourists from the other different state and the other parts of the West Bengal, they were trapped in due to such type of sudden rain and landslide. So West Bengal government has given the order to the local the tourist operators to help them in all form. So all type of rescue operations is going on.
Definitely, Prasanjit, you just told us that the rescue operation is going on. I want to ask you that how are the disaster response forces reaching the spot? Any information on that, since it's heavy rainfall there?
In many areas, I must say that even now the rescue team is struggling to reach there. This is true. But in contact is established in all the furthermore areas. This is not that the trapped human beings, they are in leftover, but rescue operations has not started in few areas, but it is believed, as I have talked to the GTA officials, that contact established. Human beings have not reached, but contact established, and in a couple of hours the rescue operations will begin, and by today evening all trapped people will be rescued. If not further rain happened in Bhutan Hill area, they are hopeful that all trapped local people and the tourists, they will be rescued by today evening.
All right, this is developing. We'll keep taking updates from you on this. Prasanjit, thank you so much. We'll leave it there as of now. And US President Donald Trump has said that Israel agreed to an initial withdrawal line for Gaza, which has also been shared with Hamas. In a social media post on Saturday, Trump said, and I quote, "After negotiations, Israel has agreed to the initial withdrawal line, which we have shown to and shared with Hamas. When Hamas confirms the ceasefire will be immediately effective, the hostages and prisoner exchange will begin, and we will create the conditions for the next phase of withdrawal, which will bring us close to the end of this 3,000-year catastrophe. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and stay tuned." Earlier, Trump expressed appreciation that Israel has temporarily stopped the bombing in order to give the hostage release and peace deal a chance to be completed. He mentioned that Hamas must move quickly or else all bets will be off. "I will not tolerate delay, which many think will happen, or any outcome where Gaza poses a threat again. Let's get this done fast." However, the enclave's civil defense agency said Israel carried out dozens of attacks on Gaza City overnight. Meanwhile, Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and a senior envoy were heading, in fact, to Egypt Saturday to finalize hostage release details. According to a White House official, Jared Kushner and Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff are traveling to the region to address the finalization of details on the release of hostages and to discuss the deal pushed by the US president. Egypt will host delegations from Israel and Hamas on Monday, according to the country's foreign ministry. And DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre is joining us live on this. Hi Akshay. What are you picking up, Akshay, as Israel has agreed for initial withdrawal line?
Well, while Israel, yes, Donald Trump gave a warning to Israel that Israel must stop bombing. Overnight bombing has killed more than 50 people once again in Gaza. So the situation continues to remain complicated, and we have heard Benjamin Netanyahu, making slightly provocative statements once again. So it really is a big question whether Israel really wants to stop the operation, or is it only doing it because of the US pressure. Now, we also know that Donald Trump is desperate to get this conflict, stopped, at least for the optics, at least for temporary measures, so that he can claim Nobel Peace Prize once again, like he has been doing in multiple conflicts, whether he has been involved or not. So this seems to be, in a way, Israel agreeing to the demands of Donald Trump, wanting to have a ceasefire in the region. We are expecting some sort of a positive outcome from both the parties, but here Hamas at least has now accepted the terms of the ceasefire. But now it remains to be seen that amid continuous killing of the people in Gaza by the Israeli Defense Forces, whether the ceasefire deal is going to continue. It also seems like Israel is testing rather the patience of Hamas there in the region. But also, we know that Israel objectives of clearing Hamas absolutely from the region, but now amid this ceasefire demands from Donald Trump, the claims that Israel is making right now is that Hamas will be disarmed and the forces will remain inside. Now, that was another statement that came from Benjamin Netanyahu that goes against the initial withdrawal and then complete withdrawal from Gaza as far as IDF is concerned. So we can expect a tussle sort of situation to emerge in the next few months, even if the ceasefire happens now between the IDF that may or may not move back from the Gaza, and the forces that will be deployed that will have soldiers from different countries and that will be headed by Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of UK. So it remains to be seen how the situation is going to evolve, but now the time is nearing as far as the deadline is concerned, and it seems that Hamas will have to act fast as far as the conditions are concerned.
Definitely, the way you were telling the situation there, it seems like it is complicated, Akshay. And
Absolutely.
Some reports are also coming in, Akshay, that the bombings are still happening there in the region. Any information on that?
Yes, it's unilateral bombing, Siddharth, if you look at it from this point of view, because the bombing is being done by the IDF. Hamas is not attacking cities in Israel. It's the Israeli Defense Forces that are acting, as far as their operations are concerned, and the conflict. So we cannot say that the conflict is nearing an end or the situation has resolved. Okay. It seems like this ceasefire, even if it happens, is going to be a temporary solution, because neither of the objectives are absolutely achieved by the Israeli Defense Forces yet. So it seems that they will still have certain ambitions, but the fighting, it's now, the ball is now in the court of Hamas also to see whether they will be returning the hostages, whether they will be adhering to the terms of the ceasefire, or they will also continue to remain mired in this conflict that has claimed many lives as of now, both of Israeli people and of Palestinians. So the situation remains complicated irrespective of the claims that are being made.
Definitely, and talks will also take place in Egypt between Hamas and Israel. Let's see what comes out of it, but we leave it there. This is developing. We'll keep taking updates from you, Akshay, on this. Thank you so much. And still to come on DD India News. European interior ministers are meeting in Munich today. Stay tuned to know why. Hundreds of protesters gather in Antananarivo, Madagascar. And Kim Jong-un warns of new military measures.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India News. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. People in several European countries staged pro-Palestine protests on Saturday, condemning Israel's blockade of the Gaza Strip. Thousands of protesters gathered in London's Trafalgar Square, waving Palestinian flags and holding banners to show solidarity with Palestine. A total of 442 individuals were arrested by the Metropolitan Police during the protest. Similar demonstrations took place in Italy and France, where protesters demanded their governments halt cooperation with Israel. Anti-immigration and customs enforcement protests emerge in U.S. states of Chicago, Illinois, Memphis and Portland. Tensions rise in Chicago and downtown Memphis as protesters rally against President Donald Trump's plan to deploy the National Guard and federal agencies to these cities. Trump authorized sending 300 National Guard troops to Chicago amid growing unrest. U.S. President Trump has vowed to escalate immigration enforcement in Chicago and other Democratic strongholds that limit cooperation with federal operations. The protests intensified after U.S. Border Patrol personnel shot a woman in Chicago after convoy rams officers. No law enforcement officers were seriously injured. During the confrontations, immigration and customs enforcement agents used pepper spray and rubber bullets to try to disperse protesters, escalating the situation further. Tension escalates on the streets of Oregon's Portland as demonstrators clash with the law enforcement near an ICE facility. The federal judge temporarily blocked U.S. President Donald Trump from deploying 200 Oregon National Guard troops to the city of Portland, while a lawsuit challenging the move plays out. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Karen Immergut in Portland is a setback for Trump as he seeks to dispatch the military to cities he describes as lawless over the objections of their Democratic leaders. Portland officials said Trump administration was threatening to withhold federal funding from the city without formal notice or justification. A Democrat Portland Mayor Keith Wilson have warned the move would siphon vital funding from the economy during a government shutdown that is already hurting cities like ours across the nation. As with other states, most federal aid to Oregon helps fund healthcare, education and transportation infrastructure. And tensions escalates in Eastern Europe as Russia rains missiles and drones across Ukraine overnight. Poland scrambles its aircraft in response, raising NATO concerns once again. Russia launched a massive wave of drone and missile strikes on western Ukraine, heavily targeting Lviv region, just 70 kilometers from the Polish border. In response, NATO member Poland scrambled fighter jets and placed air defenses on high alert to protect its airspace. Meanwhile, a deadly strike on Zaporizhzhia killed 1 and injured 9, with the nearby nuclear power plant still cut off from external electricity. Ukraine was under air raid alerts for hours as explosions echoed throughout the night. There has been no immediate comment from Russia on the attacks. European interior ministers are meeting in Munich today to discuss the anti-drone defenses. The meeting, originally billed as a migration summit, was seen shifting gear after suspected drones forced second closure of the Munich airport in 24 hours. A series of incidents involving drones disrupted aviation across Europe in recent weeks. On Thursday, authorities in Belgium were also investigating sightings of 15 drones above the Elsborn military site near the German border. Recent drone sightings across EU prompted a leaders' summit in Copenhagen earlier this week. Several EU member states have backed plans for a multi-layered drone wall to quickly detect, track and destroy drones, allegedly from Russia. Russia, however, denies any involvement. In Czech Republic, billionaire Andrej Babis has won the parliamentary election, although his populist ANO party fell short of an overall majority. ANO received just under 35% of vote, earning them 80 seats in the 200 seats lower house, up from 72 seats 4 years ago. Babis, who served as Prime Minister from 2017 to 2021, is expected to be invited to lead talks on forming a new coalition. While Prime Minister Peter Fiala's centre-right Spolu alliance trailed with 23%. Thus, shortly after the preliminary results were announced, Fiala conceded defeat and offered congratulations to Babis. Czech President Petr Pavel, who will tap the next premier under the constitution, said he would start talks with the elected party hands on Sunday. In Georgia, the opposition staged a large demonstration on the day of municipal elections. Shortly before polls closed on Saturday, protesters tried to storm the presidential palace in Tbilisi after opposition calls for a peaceful revolution against the ruling Georgian Dream Party. Riot police used pepper spray and water cannons to disperse them. The party claimed victory in all municipalities in an election, in fact, boycotted by main opposition groups. As per the Health Ministry, 21 security personnel and 6 protesters were injured during clashes in central Tbilisi. Hundreds of protesters gather in Antananarivo, Madagascar, demanding the resignation of President Andry Rajoelina. Demonstrators marched toward police barricades in an attempt to reach Democracy Square. Officers reject calls for negotiation and disperse the crowd with tear gas. Tensions escalate, culminating in a police pursuit of protesters near the Befla Tanana Maternity Hospital. Protests, led by an online movement known as Gen Z Mada, have tapped into widespread frustration over poor governance, with demonstrators calling for the president to step down. At least 22 people have been killed and hundreds injured, according to the United Nations, a toll the government has denied as based on rumors or misinformation. And let's take you to North Korea now, where Kim Jong-un warns of new military measures amid rising US presence in the south. Speaking at military hardware exhibition, North Korean leader Kim said that North Korea will undoubtedly develop additional military measures to respond to the buildup of US military forces without elaborating further. At an exhibition venue, North Korea's state-run television KRT showed still photographs of displayed military weapons, including the North's short-range ballistic missile, which Ukraine and Western officials have said was supplied to Russia and used by Moscow to strike Ukraine. The number of students confirmed dead after the collapse of an Islamic boarding school building in Indonesia rose to 36 from 16 a day earlier. Efforts continued for a 7th day today to search for the bodies of 27 students still declared missing, trapped under the rubble. Cranes have been deployed to excavate debris, while the authorities said search and evacuation efforts were 60% complete. Country's disaster mitigation agency expects to clear all debris and finish the search on Monday. The Al Hosni school in the town of Sidoarjo in East Java province caved in last Monday, collapsing on top of hundreds of teenage students during afternoon prayers. Its foundations unable to support ongoing construction work on its upper floors. Update from China now. Typhoon Matmo hit southern China, causing disruption in a peak holiday season. Flights and ferries in the holiday hub of Hainan had already been cancelled in anticipation of Matmo's strong winds and heavy rains. Typhoon Matmo was generating winds of 151 km per hour as it approached China's coastline. A weather radar graphic showed Matmo barreling towards southern China, brushing past the northeastern part of the resort island of Hainan and making landfall on the east coast of Zhuan. Cryptocurrency Bitcoin has once again shattered records, soaring to a new high of nearly 2.7% at around $125,000 as on October 5. The rally is fueled by growing optimism over potential US interest rate cuts and fresh crypto reforms that are boosting investor confidence. Interestingly, at the center of its momentum is a new executive order by US President Trump, which allows crypto assets to be included in 401k retirement accounts, or we say employer-sponsored defined contribution retirement account. Notably, Trump's administration has introduced key regulations supporting stablecoins and exchange-traded funds. While enthusiasm grows, experts caution that the asset class remains highly volatile, posing risks for long-term retirement portfolios. Syria is holding parliamentary elections on Sunday, marking the country's first attempt at establishing a new legislative body since the fall of the Assad regime in December 2024. Longtime former President Assad was ousted by Shara's forces 10 months ago after a 13-year civil war. The polls are in line with current President Ahmed al-Shara promise to turn Syria into a democratic, pluralistic and inclusive country The elections rely on electoral colleges and presidential appointments and not direct public voting. The new 210-member parliament will manage legislation, pass laws and support economic reforms during a 30-month transitional period until a permanent constitution is adopted, which may take up to 3 years. Analysts say direct voting is nearly impossible due to Syria's post-war challenges. Elections on 19 seats have been indefinitely postponed, citing security and political reasons. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world now. Visitors are enjoying the first edition of the International Pinball Biennial in Saint-Herblain, France, held every 2 years. The event features 120 machines and brings together pinball fans, makers and repairers with special guest and pinball icon Roger Shop. Pierpaolo Piccioli debuted his first Balenciaga collection at Paris Fashion Week on Saturday, drawing stars like Anne Hathaway and Meghan Markle. Known for his bold style at Valentino, Piccioli now brings his signature touch to Balenciaga as its new creative director. Thousands gathered at Meskel Square in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia on Saturday to celebrate Iricha, the Oromo Thanksgiving festival marking the end of the rainy season. The vibrant event featured traditional songs, dances and a symbolic water ritual, highlighting unity and renewal for Oromo community, Ethiopia's largest ethnic group. In Mexico City, the new Museo Casa Carlo, also called Casa Roya, opened in the historic Coyoacan district. The museum, a family initiative, occupies the Carlo family's ancestral home and focuses on Frida Kahlo's early life, family relationships, unpublished letters, childhood sketches and personal artifacts. Aims to show a more human and intimate side of Frida rather than her public image alone. Dozens gathered at the Basilica of Saint Bonaventure in Lyon for a pet blessing ceremony held in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi. The church has been hosting the annual event since 2024, celebrating the patron saint of ecology and his love for animals and nature. And still to come on DD Indian News Hour. Storm Amy caused widespread damage throughout northern parts of Britain. Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Yatra has been temporarily suspended. The higher reaches of Sonmarg in central Kashmir witnessed the season's first snowfall.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Whenever we think of scientists, farmers or shepherds protecting our environment, but the reality is quite different. Across the world, women have often done the quiet, hidden, silent work of protecting our planet.
We've also noticed that because we had a kind of a model farm where we grew multiple crops, farmers around have also started doing that.
In the beginning, it was frightening. I went door to door sharing the idea. I trusted in our sisterhood. Some agreed to work.
A generational change is very important for us because the mountain villages of the Apennines are suffering from strong outmigration and the population is aging.
The main objective of integrated waste management through this program is to recover voluntary donations from vendors that are still fit for human consumption and have nutritional value.
And you're watching DD Indian News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Heavy downpour wreaks havoc across the Darjeeling Hills in India's West Bengal. PM Modi closely monitors the situation, directs authorities to provide all possible assistance. Israel agrees to initial withdrawal line, says Trump. Egypt to hold talks on Monday for hostage release. Poland activates air defenses after fresh airstrikes hit Ukraine. Eastern flank NATO members too on sharp vigil. Storm Amy caused widespread damage throughout northern parts of Britain on Saturday, bringing strong winds to Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Emergency services remained on high alert, urging residents to stay indoors and avoid coastal areas as cleanup efforts began. Storm Amy is the latest in a series of extreme weather events to hit the UK this season, raising further concerns about the increasing frequency and severity of storms linked to climate change. An Indian student from Hyderabad who went to the US for higher studies was shot dead by miscreants in Texas. The victim, Chandrasekhar Pole, was reportedly working part-time at a gas station in Denton, Texas, when the incident occurred. Expressing grief over the demise of the student, Consulate in General of India in Houston said, and I quote, "deeply condoles the tragic death of Mr. Chandrasekhar Pole, an Indian student from Hyderabad who was killed in shooting incident Denton, Texas. We are in touch with the family and extending all possible assistance. Local authorities are investigating the incident and we are following up closely with them." British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will make his first official visit to India on 8th to 9th of October. India's Ministry of External Affairs said in a statement on Saturday that during the visit on October 9 in Mumbai, the two Prime Ministers will take stock of progress in diverse aspects of India-UK comprehensive strategic partnership in line with Vision 2035. It would be a focused and time-bound 10-year roadmap of programs and initiatives in key pillars of trade and investment, technology and innovation, defense and security, climate and energy, health, education and people-to-people relations. Both leaders will engage with businesses and industry leaders on opportunities presented by the India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement as a central pillar of future of India-UK economic partnership. They will also exchange views on issues of regional and global importance. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Starmer will also attend the 6th edition of the Global FinTech Fest in Mumbai and deliver a keynote address. The leaders will also engage with industry experts, policymakers and innovators. The visit will build on the momentum and substance generated by the visit of Prime Minister Modi to the UK in July this year. It will provide a valuable opportunity to reaffirm the shared vision of India and the United Kingdom to build a forward-looking partnership. India's Electronics Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has approved the Namo Semiconductor Lab at IIT Bhubaneswar, Odisha to boost the Make in India and Design in India initiatives. The 4.95 crore rupees project is funded under the Members of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme or MP-LAD scheme. The lab will train youth in industry-ready semiconductor skills and strengthen IIT Bhubaneswar as a research hub. Supported by recent semiconductor project approvals in Odisha, it will boost research and development as well as talent for India's chip manufacturing and packaging sector across Bharat. Bharat is home to 20% of global chip design talent. Students of 295 universities across the country are using the latest EDA tools provided by the industry. 28 student-designed chips from 20 institutes have been tabbed out as SCL Mohali. Continuing the journey towards a Viksit Bharat, the Viksit Bharat Run has become a platform for diaspora engagement and youth mobilization. Indian missions and posts have partnered with community groups, cultural bodies and local organizations worldwide to showcase collective efforts towards nation building. We get you some glimpses of the activities carried out in celebration of a self-reliant India. India and Australia are coming together for the 4th edition of the AustraHind, a joint bilateral military exercise that is set to take place between 13th to 26th of October. The exercise will take place in Irvine Barracks of the city of Perth in the state of Western Australia. With over hundreds of troops from both sides, the exercise aims to further strengthen the operational capabilities of both the armies in undertaking joint company level operations in urban and semi-urban terrain under the United Nations mandate. Indian Navy's indigenous stealth frigate INS Sahyadri made a port call at Kemaman Port in Malaysia on 2nd of October as part of the Eastern Fleet operational deployment to the South China Sea and Indo-Pacific. The 3-day visit included courtesy calls by the ship's commanding officer on senior Royal Malaysian Navy officers, including a call on the First Admiral Abd Halim bin Kamaruddin, Deputy Commander, Naval Region. The visit also featured professional exchanges, cross visits by Indian Navy and RMN officials, cross-training, sport fixtures between the two navies, as well as recreational visits to the city for INS Sahyadri's crew. The crew also conducted a yoga session and charity event. Shri Mata Vaishno Devi Yatra has been temporarily suspended as a precautionary measure in view of the inclement weather conditions and the adverse weather advisory. The Met Department has predicted widespread light to moderate rain, thunderstorms, lightning and snowfall in the upper reaches of Jammu and Kashmir from 5th to 7th of October. The Shrine Board has thus appealed to devotees to refrain from undertaking the pilgrimage during this period and to stay updated through official channels regarding the resumption of the Yatra. The Yatra is expected to resume on 8th of October, subject to improvement in weather conditions and clearance from the authorities. Pilgrims already present in Katra and along the Yatra route are being provided with all necessary facilities, including shelter, food and medical assistance. Authorities have also advised the public to avoid venturing near water bodies, rivers and steep tracks during this period of adverse weather. The higher reaches of Sonmarg in central Kashmir witnessed the season's first snowfall, marking an early sign of the approaching winter chill in the valley. The white blanket on the upper reaches added to the scenic beauty of Sonmarg. And let's take a look at other stories making news. Uttarakhand government has initiated strict action against the sale of banned cough syrups across state. Following the advisory issued by the central government, the state has appealed to doctors not to prescribe banned cough syrup for children. The Food and Drug Administration has launched statewide raids on medical stores to ensure compliance. India's government amended the National Highways fee rules on Saturday. Under the new rule, vehicles entering a fee plaza without a valid functional FASTag will be charged twice the applicable user fee for cash payment, while 1.25 times for payment via UPI. The new rules will come into effect from 15th of November. The Ministry of Heavy Industries participated in the Swachhata Hi Seva campaign on Saturday. As part of the campaign, over 2,000 volunteers cleaned 90 target units and 45 public places across the country. The drive also featured waste to art exhibitions, painting competitions and tree plantation activities promoting cleanliness awareness. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar to inaugurate the Rajgir International Cricket Stadium on Sunday. The stadium is a major step forward in strengthening Bihar's sports infrastructure. It aims to bring the cricketing talent of Bihar to the world stage. In Brampton, the Hindu Sabha Temple welcomed thousands of devotees and community members for one of the year's most anticipated festivals, Dussehra, also known as Vijayadashmi. The celebration featured prayers, cultural performances and a dramatic staging of the Ram Leela, culminating in the burning of a towering effigy of Ravan. Our reporter Tarun Paul Singh brings us the sights and sounds and spirit of this remarkable celebration of the victory of good over evil.
Reporting from Hindu Sabha Temple, in Brampton, Ontario, where a grand Dussehra celebration took place. The temple ground transformed into a vibrant festival arena as thousands from the community gathered to mark the triumph over good over evil. Dussehra, also known as Vijayadashmi, commemorates Lord Rama's victory over the demon king Ravana, and tonight that ancient story came alive here in Brampton. Festivities kicked off with traditional Ganesh Puja led by temple board members. Chanting and ringing of bells, prayer were offered to Lord Ganesha for a auspicious start to an event. This was followed by a soulful Bhajan Sandhya performed by the Hindu Sabha Bhajan Mandali. Devotees joined in singing classical hymns. The atmosphere was filled with music, clapping and fragrance of incense, setting up a pious tone as dusk approached.
I love to do seva because in our culture it says whenever you do some good for others, it's very good for you as well.
Attention turned to main stage for a special Shiv Shankar Basamarti, a ritual worship of Lord Shiva involving sacred ash. Temple priests ignited camphor flames and offered holy ash, the glue illuminating the revered faces in the crowd. The air echoed in the sound of conch shells and prayer, creating a truly immersive spiritual experience. Actors in elaborate costumes dramatized scenes from the epic Ramayana. The audience watched in rapt attention as Lord Rama, his wife Sita, loyal Hanuman and the villainous Ravana were brought to life. The performances, complete with traditional dialogues and lively background music, had spectators cheering at heroic moments. Each scene built that anticipation for the final battle, a vivid reminder of why Dussehra is celebrated.
Well, I mean, the attire is a blessing for Prabhu Lord Sri Ram, and this is a lot of team effort that's gone into it.
Celebrating Dussehra at Hindu Sabha Mandir, especially in this style, with a grand look, with a grand stage, and with so much people, it's always amazing, it's always fun.
So that before we started practicing, I didn't know what Dussehra was. Then after we did our practices, I finally knew all of the names of all of the Dussehras.
It's been amazing, and I hope you guys love our performance because our kids, our teachers, our parents have worked so hard for this.
The scene here at Hindu Sabha Temple tonight was one of the joy, devotion and togetherness. Brampton diverse community stood united, celebrating an ancient Indian tradition on Canadian soil with equal fervor. From the prayers at dusk to the fiery conclusion at night, the event was a powerful reminder of the values of the Dussehra pole. This festival endured a message that truth and virtue will ultimately triumph over falsehood and evil was felt in every prayer and every cheer. As the flames of Ravana Dahan died down, they illuminated a collective hope that goodness will always prevail. From Canada, this is Tarun Paul Singh.
And still to come on DD News Hour. World number 3 Alexander Zverev accuses tournament directors of slowing down courts to help Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner succeeded across all surfaces.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD Indian News Hour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj and time now for sport. India take on Pakistan in a high voltage clash at the Women's Cricket World Cup in Colombo on Sunday. Indians are high on confidence after winning their opening match while Pakistan lost their first match of the tournament. The two sides have met 11 times in the 50-over format with India women winning on all occasions. And my colleague Deepika Mehto joins us live from Colombo. Hi Deepika. The energy is certainly high, and why not? It's India versus Pakistan today there in Colombo. How do you analyze this clash, Deepika? I see some fans also behind you.
There are many, Siddharth, when we talk about the super encounter, India versus Pakistan, 4th consecutive Sunday, 3 where men's team played, and the 4th one goes to the Women's Cricket World Cup where India versus Pakistan is going to happen. Pakistan has chosen to bowl first, and Team India is going to bat first. There is one change that has come in. Amanjot, instead of Amanjot Kaur, Renuka Singh Thakur has come in as we were expecting, and the fans are really excited. Let's talk to all of them who've come specially from India to support Team India. How are you celebrating today's match? You came all the way from India to celebrate this match against Pakistan.
मुझे पूरा भरोसा है मैच पक्का वन साइडेड ही होगा। कुछ दिन पहले आपने देखा होगा बांग्लादेश ने ऑलरेडी पाकिस्तान को 7 विकेट से रोका था, तो जाहिर सा बात है इंडिया पहली बल्लेबाजी कर रही है, 350 के ऊपर ही मारेगी और पूरी पाकिस्तान की टीम 150 के अंदर ही ऑल आउट हो जाएगी, ये मेरी पूरा गारंटी है।
Mahila, when we talk about the Women's Cricket World Cup, what do you have to say? You're supporting our women's team? Yes, India जीतेगी।
इंडिया जीतेगा, जीतेगा भाई जीतेगा, इंडिया जीतेगा।
Oh, they are very excited, Deepika. They are very excited.
Yes, indeed, they are very excited because they are all here to see the Indian players who are in action, who are in form, and on papers also the Indian side is definitely very strong, not only against Team Pakistan but at the current ongoing tournament they have an upper hand.
Definitely, Deepika. Very quickly, can you tell us about the players to watch out for today when it comes to the Indian side?
In fact, when we talk about the Indian side, Smriti Mandhana is just 104 runs away to make her 5,000 international runs. Once she achieves this feat, she will become only the 5th international batter to make 5,000 international runs. Also, if we talk about Deepti Sharma, she is 7 wickets away, and once she gets this feat, she will also have 150 wickets in her kitty. And of course, the captain, Harmanpreet Kaur, she is 103 runs away to add 1,000 international runs to her kitty, and with this she will become the 2nd Indian batter to do so. Apart from that, you've got Kranti Gaur as well, who really defeated and destroyed Team Australia in the 2nd ODI of India versus Australia, where India recorded a very historic victory. And you've got Renuka Singh Thakur, who's known for her 35 wickets in ODI format. So all in all, Team India's batting lineup and bowling lineup with the all-rounders is looking very much strong and promising here. Siddharth.
Definitely. We hope that Team India comes out with flying colours today. Can people behind you give a cheer for Team India very quickly, Deepika?
Once again, can you please cheer for Team India?
India! India!
All right, Deepika. All right, we leave it there.
जीतेगा भाई जीतेगा, इंडिया जीतेगा, जीतेगा भाई जीतेगा, इंडिया जीतेगा।
All right, thank you so much, Deepika.
The fans are.
Thank you so much, Deepika. India added 3 medals to their tally on the penultimate day of the World Para Athletics Championships in New Delhi to mark their best performance in the championships history. Ekta Bhyan produced a season best performance of 19.8 meter throw to finish 2nd in the women's club throw F51 final. In the men's shot put F57, Soman Rana earned his maiden championships medal, throwing 14.69 meter to finish 2nd, while Paris Paralympics champion Praveen Kumar took bronze in the men's high jump T64. The 3 medals on Saturday took India's overall tally to 18, one more than their 17 medals haul at the previous edition in Japan. All right, and DD India's Narayan is joining us live from New Delhi. Hi Narayan, can you tell us about the World Para Athletics Championships that are being held in Delhi? First time, take us through the arrangements that have been, that were put in place for the para athletes. It's a very big thing in itself, Narayan.
Definitely, Siddharth, as you mentioned, that first time ever India is hosting such a big para sports event in India. In itself, it's a big achievement, and it shows that India is now the new sports hub of the world, the way we are hosting the big international events in India. And now we will also trying to host, we will bid for the Commonwealth Games to host again in India, and the 2036 Olympics that we are trying to bid for. It shows that India is the new sports hub of the world. And talking about this event, more than we can say that 1,000 athletes from 104 nations are participating in this event, and today is the last day of the event. And the way India performed, as we already mentioned, that it is India's best ever performance, winning 18 medals, and the previous edition in Kobe we won 17 medals. And today in the evening, Simran will be there in the 200 meters final, and also Navdeep Kumar, the gold medal winner of the Paris Paralympics, will also in the fray. If any one of them wins a gold medal, the number of gold will exceed to 7, and that will be India's best ever performance in terms of gold medals too. If you take a look at the last edition, India won 6 gold medals, and if India crosses that mark, definitely it's going to be a fantastic achievement. And right now, if you take a look at the points table, India is in the top 10, and talking about the countries like USA, we are beyond top 10. It shows where the Indian sports is going right now. The kind of infrastructure that our government has laid out, the kind of facilities are there, the kind of exposure they are getting. If you talk about science and technology, even science is involved a lot in our doctors are the world class here to take care of our athletes, because we know that there is a big correlation between sports, medicine and science, and that's why our athletes are exceeding a lot in various international events. If you talk about the growth of the para sports in India, in the London Paralympics we won only 1 medal, and after that in the next edition, that was in Rio, we won 4 medals, and in the Tokyo Paralympics we won 19 medals, and in the previous edition, that was in Paris, India won a record number of the 29 medals.
Definitely.
So you can see that the success graph of the Indians is so steep. It is like that. So definitely a lot of work has been done by the government to make India the mega sports of the world, not in terms of infrastructure only, but in terms of performance, in terms of the number of medals we are winning at the various international events. And this will continue the way things are happening in India.
All right, Narayan, thank you so much. We leave it there. World number 3 Alexander Zverev accused tournament directors of slowing down courts to help Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner succeed across all surfaces. The German said that the sport needs to bring back variety. Earlier, Swiss great Roger Federer had said the slower courts allowed players to play the same way on clay, grass or hard courts, adding that he wanted to see Alcaraz and Sinner adjust to fast conditions. But Zverev not only echoed those sentiments, but also fired a provocative shot at tournament directors. While Alcaraz has won 6 Grand Slam titles at the age of 22, Sinner has won 4, with the top 2 players splitting the last 8 majors between them. India's Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia graced the special edition of the Fit India Sundays on Cycle campaign in New Delhi on Sunday. In the special edition was named World Teachers Day, where Minister Mandavia led hundreds of teachers, students and citizens in the cycle rally. The event paid tribute to teachers, recognized their role in shaping young minds and inspiring future champions as well. The initiative promotes cycling as a sustainable, inclusive and an eco-friendly form of exercise with numerous health benefits.
आज मुझे खुशी है, देश में 10,500 से अधिक स्थानों पर हमारे देश के टीचर्स, शिक्षक आज संडे ऑन साइकिल के साथ जुड़े, स्वदेशी का संदेश दिया। साथ में संडे ऑन साइकिल से देश के नागरिक को और स्टूडेंट को संदेश दिया है कि जीवन में संतुलन बनाना बहुत आवश्यक है।
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.